This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another amazing episode of the Stephen Gervais Reviews, part of the Deluxe Edition Network. Also, go check out the Deluxe Edition Network podcast of the month for April, which is Barrel Aged Flicks, and HILF, meaning History I'd Like to Blank. And if you need to know what the blank is, then, you're probably too young or don't use that kind of verbiage. But anyway, today we are talking about the Detroit Lions, and this will be Episode 5, The Decade of Mediocrity, 1970 through 1981. Now, before we get into that, also, are you sick and tired of the same old award shows like the Emmys, the Oscars, the Academy Awards? Well, boy, does the Deluxe Edition Network have one for you. It is called The Denny's. All you have to do is go on to any of the links that has the Deluxe Edition Network.com in my description. There should be one for the Denny's. Click on it, or go on to www.deluxeeditionnetwork.com. There will be a big thing there, title saying the Denny's. Click on that and vote for all your favorite categories, including Podcasts of the Year, which, if you feel inclined to do so, you could vote for Stephen Gervais and Friends podcast. I fucking said reviews earlier, didn't I? God damn. Sorry. But anyway, go vote on the Denny's. Go vote for all your favorite categories, including the Podcast of the Year. If you'd be so nice, you could always vote for my podcast. I mean, Stephen Gervais and Friends need some love here too, And don't forget to like and subscribe. Also comment, hit that notification bell, so that you tell YouTube that we like this podcast. Thank you so very much, and let's get into it. So, the Decade of Mediocrity, 1970 through 1981. With the AFL-NFL merger, the Lions were placed in the new NFC Central Division with the Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers, and Minnesota Vikings. Motown soul singer Marvin Gaye made plans after the death of duet partner Tammy Terrell to join the Lions and go into football. He gained weight and trained for his tryout in 1970, but was cut early on. He remained good friends with a number of the players, particularly Mel Farr and Lem Barney, who appeared as background vocalists on his 1971 classic single, What's Going On. Finishing with a 10-4 record, they were the first team to qualify for the NFL's newly created wildcard playoff position. However, they lost to the Dallas Cowboys 5-0 after a long, grinding defensive struggle and did not see the postseason again for the rest of the decade. Despite the loss, the 1970 Lions remains one of the best teams in NFL history and one of the most underrated teams in NFL history. Also in 1970, the Lions were the opponent on the day Tom Dempsey of the New Orleans Saints kicked what was then the longest field goal in NFL history. Dempsey's 63-yard effort on the game's final play lifted the Saints to a 1917 victory over the Lions. While playing at home against the Bears on October 24, 1971, tragedy struck when wide receiver Chuck Hughes collapsed and died of a massive heart attack. He remains the only NFL player to ever die on the field. I don't know if that's true or not. So, let's go with it. To honor his memory, the team wore black armbands for the rest of the season and retired his number 85, although the number eventually returned to circulation. In 1972, the Lions improved to 8-5-1. In the following season, they regressed to 6-7-1. Heart disease claimed another member of the franchise when head coach Don McCafferty died shortly before training camp in 1974. That season saw the Lions finish at 7-7 on Thanksgiving Day, November 28, 1974. After over 35 years, the Lions played their final game at Tiger Stadium, where they lost to the Denver Broncos 31-27 in front of 51,157 fans amidst snow flurries and a 21-point Broncos third quarter. The Lions moved to a newly constructed dome stadium in suburban Pontiac. Although another 7-7 record was produced in 1975, the Lions' first year indoors. This was followed by a 6-8 showing in 1976. The team finished with an identical 6-8 record in 1977, struggling the whole season with an anemic offense that only put up 183 points. More mediocrity followed in 1978 with 7 wins in the newly expanded 16-game season. The bottom fell out in 1979 with a 2-14 record. This gave the Lions the first overall pick in the 1980 NFL draft, which they used to draft Heisman Trophy winner Billy Sims from Oklahoma. Detroit also drafted quarterback Eric Hipple in the 4th round of the draft, who became the Lions' starting quarterback for most of the decade. Detroit improved immediately in 1980, jumping out to a 4-0 start before finishing with a 9-7 record, tied for first place in the Central Division with the Minnesota Vikings, but failing to qualify for the playoffs due to Minnesota winning more games within the conference. The next year, the Lions had a chance to win the division on the final week of the season by defeating the Buccaneers at home. However, they would lose that game, once again failing to qualify for the playoffs as they finished 8-8. So that is the decade of mediocrity for the Detroit Lions. Also, it's kind of interesting how Motown legend Marvin Gaye had made plans to join the team and go into football after the death of his duet partner, Tammy Terrell. That would have been certainly interesting to see if he would have really, truly flourished as a player. But he gets cut early on. So we'll never know what his career would have been like in the NFL, or as like he likes to say, what's going on. So that is it for today. Also, I want you all to know that tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, I will have the legendary Sandy Johnson on the show for an amazing interview. Can't wait. Been a long time since I had a very good guest on the show. All my guests are very good. They're great. I'm very appreciative of the opportunities they give me. So hopefully I don't screw this one up. I think this will be another one that launches the podcast to even greater lengths, hopefully. But if I screw it up, then I screw up, and then the podcast sinks even lower. So hopefully you all join me. It'll be live on YouTube. I also have, I'll also put put it on all the social medias. I know I put it on Twitter. I think I put it on it, made mention of it on Instagram and TikTok. On the Facebook group, it's in there. Even in the Deluxe Edition Network group, it's in there. So join us on YouTube tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Stephen Gervais and Friends podcast YouTube channel. It's free. And so is subscribing, so is commenting, so is notification, and all that fun stuff. So thank you very much. I will see you all tomorrow, hopefully. Again, go check out the network, which the podcasts are Barrel Age Flicks and HILF. Want to make sure I got that right. Got it right. Which HILF is History I'd Like to. Also, go check out the Denny's, the award show for us. Click on your favorite, go vote for your favorite categories, including Podcast of the Year, which could you please throw me a bone and vote for my podcast? I mean, we need all the help we can get. We're already hemorrhaging millions and millions of dollars. Just kidding. Light humor. I know, I bombed. It's worse than whenever you watch Jimmy Kimmel host the Oscars. Another joke. Sorry. Don't sue me, Jimmy. So yeah, that'll be it. I'll see you all tomorrow. I love you all. Thank you for the amazing love and support. Thank you to the Deluxe Edition Network for allowing me to continue to bring this great content, I would call it, to the masses. And also go check us out on anywhere else where you get podcasts. I'm sure we're on there. But yeah, have a great day. Love you all. Thank you for the support. and I'll see you all tomorrow.
This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.